Good evening. It looks like the end of the line for a project that's cost tens of millions of pounds of taxpayers' money, the Public Arts Centre in West Bromwich. Well, last night on Midlands Today, we brought you news of an uncertain future. We now know it's to close.
From day one, it's been dogged by controversy, opening 2 years late in 2008, just as the recession hit. The public was supposed to put West Bromwich on the cultural map, but critics branded it a £70 million white elephant. Recently, though, visitor numbers have risen, 380,000 last year.
Today, Sandwell Council revealed it can no longer afford £1.6 million a year in running costs. Here's Giles Latcham with reaction to today's announcement.
Overly expensive and underused. The story of the public is all too familiar. And now the council wants it shut by the end of November. Ironic, says the woman in charge, given visitor numbers are up.
I think it's a shame for all of those people who care and love this building, and all those people who spoke out and signed petitions and did other things to try and actually save it, that their voice hasn't been heard.
Opened 5 years ago, the public came to be known as the Pink Elephant. A report branded it not fit for purpose.
So Chris has been asked to choose a colour and he's chosen green.
Ambitious interactive displays were plagued by technical problems, and the council had to rescue it from administration as costs soared.
No one from the council was available for interview. In a statement, they say the decision to close this building hasn't been easy, but they can't afford to continue subsidising it to the tune of nearly £1.5 million a year. That money is council taxpayers' money, they say. In the face of cuts the council's facing from central government, this can't carry on.
But its supporters say it's become more than an art gallery, and the completion of a new shopping centre next door has given it a new lease of life.
But ever since this new square's been open, they've been having vans outside here, and I've seen quite a lot of people.
I don't think it should be closed down, because it's actually a nice building. It gives that creative touch to West Bromwich, which we kind of lack.
On the top floor, small businesses rent space. This IT firm say the landmark building is a hit with their clients in the Middle East. They're now planning to leave the borough.
We purely came here because of the building. I think it suited our business, so we decided to come here. But apart from that, I don't think there is very much going on in Sandwell.
And on the ground floor, the weekly knitting circle are at a loss.
We come here every Friday and we meet up and we become really close friends, and we will be really upset because where do we go?
Sandwell College could yet open a sixth form in the building, but that's far from certain. At a meeting next Wednesday, councillors are expected to vote in favour of closure, the latest twist in a very public saga. Giles Latcham, BBC Midlands Today, West Bromwich.
Well, I'm joined now by Jonathan Isby from the Taxpayers Alliance. Good evening. What's your reaction to the news of the closure of this arts and media facility?
Well, it's been a sorry tale from beginning to end. People have said it's iconic. Well, as far as I can tell, it's an icon to bad budgeting and bad planning. A building that was supposed to cost £38 million, ended up costing £72 million, was 2 years late, and is sitting there now as a white elephant, or pink elephant if you like, seeping away £1.5 million a year of taxpayers' money. That's £30,000 a week. It was completely unsustainable.
Well, now that they have made the decision to close it, what do you believe would represent best value for money for taxpayers?
Well, the council has to put into the public domain what the options are and ensure that best value for money is indeed delivered, whether that be to hand it over to Sandwell College or to look for an alternative option that would bring in money to recoup as much money as possible, because it is a huge amount of taxpayers' money that has gone on this project, and at a time when the council's having to make cuts and find savings, the last thing it can afford is to be losing money at that kind of rate.
But they need to get a move on with the decision, don't they? Because an empty building, a mothballed building, costs money.
Of course a mothballed building costs money, and they must get on and make a decision and make sure that decision is made in the open and transparently, so people can see the various options that they're weighing up. But also they need to make sure they make the right decision, because certainly when the decision was made to build this thing in the first place, it was very much the wrong decision.
But don't the people of West Bromwich and the surrounding area deserve some kind of an arts facility? Had a slow start, but as we heard, 380,000 visitors last year. Where do they go now?
I think the project was far too ambitious in the beginning, and that's clear now, and you simply cannot, even if visitor numbers have slightly risen, you cannot justify that £30,000 a week subsidy for that building, and people will come up with their own solutions. I'm sure the community will come together and look at ways, alternative venues where they can host their events and meet, and perhaps in the longer term look to a slightly less ambitious way of bringing people together for those artistic reasons.
OK, Jonathan Isby from the Taxpayers Alliance, thank you.
Well, the news of that